ladies and gents, Romie Reviews here. Please like, comment, subscribe. I brought back my Romie Report segment. It's about Robert Kelly and that interview. With Gail. So that should be up already. Also, as well as my new video for my other channel, Romie Whispers ASMR. I hope you enjoy. Links below and also should be popping up above. Now, let's talk about... so please like, comment, subscribe if you're new to my channel, new to my videos. The haves and the have-nots. I guess because of how last week's episode was, I was expecting something different and more from this one, but it's okay. Sometimes we need to just take what we can get and move forward. I'm not going to do this in sequential order or anything like that. I'm just going to do it based off of things that stuck out to me the most, because this episode was pretty drawn out for almost no reason. We had Wyatt, who was testifying. So Wyatt is testifying. You know what? I'll start off with Candace, because there wasn't a whole lot to that. Candace, she slept with Charles, as in fell asleep. Not as in she opened her legs and slept with the man. No, she fell asleep with him, and they woke up together, and it felt like a different Candace. And Candace, at this point, she wants her life to change. So she's open. She's not guaranteeing. She's open to potentially going with Charles to meet the current president. She's afraid of Washington, though. And it's funny because Charles is trying to say how similar they are. Charles knows all the stuff that Candace has been doing because they did thorough research. Candace doesn't realize how much he really knows. And he's saying that ring that stuff that you were trying to pull, that's nothing compared to what I was doing. I'm thinking, what was he, a kingpin? That's what I'm trying to figure out. Was he a kingpin or something? Because that's the only way it would make sense to me how Candace's stuff is small potatoes compared to him. But he's saying, look, we'll do what we need to do in the background to make sure you're good. You just have to be open to it. And right now she's saying, okay. So that's when Landon comes in, because it's actually Landon's room, which made sense. It's Landon's room. Charles leaves and she stays for a bit. And Landon acknowledges that he does like Charles, but that's where it has to end for now. And he's saying this is a great opportunity. He essentially gives her the Viola Davis, you smart, you beautiful, you is important speech to Candace, saying that she's got this because she doesn't feel confident. Landon says that Charles knows the real you. He knows that you put up this really strong facade, and the reality is you're scared. You're scared. You're very unsure of yourself. And so you overcompensate. And I thought Candace was going to get upset. But clearly this is a different Candace, because Candace was just like, okay, he's not wrong. So then that's when Landon says, Charles really likes you. He really likes you. All he thinks about is you. So that's why we talk about you. And don't worry. We'll get you a different wardrobe, because you had the skimpy stuff. It was like, skimpy? Look, Candace, accept a new wardrobe. You could potentially be the first lady and be protected. Just leave. Just leave. Leave, give back the money, and let there be some new mess. Because we know there will be. So Candace says, okay, she's open to it. Now let's jump to Wyatt. Wyatt, he said that he was going to testify. And clearly he is. But first up, Sarah has to testify in front of the grand jury. They did it quickly too. And it was funny because George he has such a Napoleon complex. You can tell. And George was just like, all right. So Sarah, what did you do? Well, I helped colluded with Jim Cryer to go and take evidence regarding the Wyatt Cryer case. Why did you do that? Because he had information on me. What information was it? Well, there's some things that happened in my college years, my younger years, I'm not proud of. Here goes George whipping out a picture, and it looked like, see, I don't know if Sarah was a call girl, an escort, a prostitute, if she was just hoish, I don't know. But it looked like a picture of her and a bunch of dudes around her. And I'm like, was she raped and ashamed of it? Or like, what? It wasn't clear, but she essentially says, yeah, that's me. And he said, okay, that's enough for now. He said a couple other things, but essentially that's enough for now. So then they bring in Wyatt. And when I tell you, Wyatt definitely had that look of, okay, I put on these clothes, but I didn't necessarily shower type. You know that type of person that has that look of, they look a little dingy, look a little dirty, but their clothes may not be. Or at least they're trying to make it look like it's not. So he sits down, his high wore off, and you could tell because this is the most regret, shame that I've seen from Wyatt for a while. And as we know, we've only seen that from him whenever he was sobering up. So they have to ask him a bunch of questions. All right, why are you here? And he's here because he's here to testify. Testify against who? His parents, as well as Veronica and David Harrington. Why? Because I did a hit and run and I hit Benny Young, and apparently my car got on the sidewalk, and I also hit what was it, Allison? I forgot the young girl's name, but hit the young girl, and because of that, he went to his parents afterwards, and they said that they were going to handle it. And Veronica Harrington hid the car. He's just laying it all out. And I was like, oh yes, I do remember all of this. As soon as he was saying it, I was like, wow, this show's been on TV for a while. And I do remember all of that. So now he says that, but while he was saying it, you could tell that he really had some regret and guilt. And it was nice to see Wyatt look remorseful and look like he actually cared about what he did. Because it was terrible. A little girl, maybe it was Lizzie, a little girl died, and Benny almost died, and then his father came to try and go and take it. Oof, that was a mess. That's when the Haves and Have-Nots was at its prime. Now we have him going saying all of that. While he's saying his testimony, one of the jurors is under Jim's payroll, so he called Jim underneath the table. I'm thinking, why wasn't his phone confiscated? Unless maybe he's not a juror, maybe he's an officer and he was paid off. One of the two, someone who had access to have his phone. Jim was hearing everything, so Jim freaked out. He called David, told David, I need you to get Veronica, meet with me at my house because we have to deal with the Wyatt situation. And so that we can go backwards a little bit. Jeffrey got a call from Justin. He picks up, he's talking to Justin. Justin wants Jeffrey to come over to the house. Justin wants Jeffrey to say he loves him. Justin is still super controlling, and Jeffrey is just going along with it because he has this complex of being needed and being an enabler. And due to all of that, Justin is happy. Because Justin was saying, oh, remember, it's your fault that this happened to me. And Jeffrey said, I know, I'm sorry. I looked at Jeffrey like, whose fault? Not mine, said the cat. Whose fault? See how high the voice was getting? Whose fault? Not mine. Not mine. But Jeffrey said, oh, I know, I'm sorry. Trash. So then Madison was eavesdropping. That house looks like it doesn't have much furniture. So Madison said he could hear from the kitchen. I didn't have to eavesdrop. Madison is pissed because he's saying, that guy's going to hurt you. That guy's going to hurt you, or he's going to kill you. Possibly both. And you're just playing into it. You and your father, you both are enablers, and you both put up with mess you shouldn't put up with, and you're going to die. You're going to go over to his house. I was like, oh, so you were eavesdropping. Of course I was. That's not the point. I want you to live. So then Jeffrey was like, don't tell my father. Madison said, I didn't tell your father about the last thing, so I'm not going to tell him about this thing. Here comes David. Tell me what? Walks down the stairs. And that's when Jeffrey had to say it. Was like, yeah, Justin called me and whatnot. And then Jeffrey flipped it because David said, look, I had that man dealt with, hurt, because I need to send a clear message to him. Since he seems to only understand violence, I showed him a level of violence that he can only understand. Jeffrey said, well, don't do that again. And you know what, Dad? You can't talk to me because you're going back with Mom. And David said, Jeffrey, it's not that clear cut. It's not what you think. Jeffrey did not want to hear that. Jeffrey decided that, you know what? Mom's crazy. Mom did all these things to you. Why would you go back? Why would you go with Justin? See, okay, it's fine. You go and do whatever you want. No, I'm not listening to you. Well, you under my roof. It was like, fine, I'll find another roof. I'm thinking, oh no, this is how it begins. So now Jeffrey's going to leave and probably stay with Justin. Something's going to happen. Ugh. It's annoying. It's annoying. But I digress. We go from all of that to the stupidity of it all. Let's go to Hannah's house. So Hannah is there, and Catherine comes along. Catherine apologizes. She says that Jim's not going to be able to do what he did ever again. I'm going to make sure of it. Hannah was pissed. She said, how am I supposed to believe you? All the stuff that's happened, how am I supposed to believe you? Jim clearly does whatever he wants. And Catherine said, Hannah, there's things you don't know about me, and I need for you to understand that Jim does know those things about me. So he knows not to push me too far. I'm thinking, how much farther does he need to push you? Because he's done so much stuff. So what's the limit? Does he have to get Wyatt killed for you to... I mean, Wyatt was already raped, but we move forward. And we deal with the fact that Hannah still needs a job, because Hannah wanted to move out. She wanted to move out, and she definitely wasn't going to work at that house again. Catherine said, I would not dare ever ask you to work in my house again with this situation. Never. She said, okay, good. What about the hotel? I own the hotel. I'm thinking Jim was, weaved his way into there too, but okay. I own the hotel. You can be head over there at the hotel. And at first, Hannah said no, but I'm thinking, Hannah, at this point, come on now. So then Hannah said yeah, because she needs a job. So she'll stay at the house and she'll work at the hotel. And Catherine is happy. So then Catherine wanted to change the subject. So how's the relationship going? Hannah didn't want to say anything initially, but then she said, you know what? It's going well. I am happy. I'm happy. He's great. My only thing was when I saw him talking to Veronica, I got nervous, but I'm going to leave it alone. Catherine said, don't worry about that. And secondly, why wouldn't you just go and ask him? Because it'll all come out in the wash. She has faith that, it will reveal itself. And it's true, whether it's soon or later, things have a way of coming out. And when Catherine said, Hannah, always the faithful, and I said, not always, but pretty close. Maybe compared to the people you're used to dealing with. So then it comes back, and we see Benny come into the house with Mitch. And that's when Catherine leaves, because Catherine gets a call from Jim. She was very pissed. But Jim told her, hey, I'm rounding up the gang. Wyatt is testifying right now. It's very serious. Get back to the house. Ugh, okay. She goes and leaves. She says hello she apologizes to Benny, and Benny's just like, okay. As well as hello to Mitch. And Mitch and Benny start squabbling. They start squabbling like brothers. It was funny because I believed it. Because Benny was upset that Mitch let it be known that, we just came back from the hospital. We had to re-sew up Benny. And I'm glad that they said that, because they said there's no way you can move around that freely after getting stabbed without blood coming back out. So then Benny was upset. I was like, why are you telling her this? Why can't you open your mouth? Can't you just keep something to yourself for once? And Mitch was like, that's your mother? That is your mother. I have respect for her. What do you expect me to do? Go and lie to her? It's like, why can't you just... And so then Hannah was looking at Benny like, Mitch isn't saying anything wrong. He's not lying. So then Mitch leaves because his feelings are hurt because Benny's like, oh, what do you do for me anyway? Mitch said, what do I do for you? What do I do for my friend Benny? Oh, okay. I see how it is. I'm going to let you go because you're doing too much right now. Ungrateful. So then Hannah needs to tell Benny, we're giving back that money. I don't care what you think. We're giving back that money. I just hope that you know. And Benny said, he was over it, but he understood. He understood. I think he gets it that him trying to play the Candace game isn't going to work. He's not going to survive it. So they're going to go to the bank. Supposedly, they're going to go to the bank in the morning and transfer back the money. Because Catherine, even at one point when she was talking to Hannah, said that, how's it feel having that $8 million? Hannah said, it's not my money. And Catherine said, no, but how does it feel? Almost kind of like putting out there like, it could be. Because Catherine has, what, like $250 million of assets and a lot of it in liquid cash? Jesus. Or she could get liquid cash quickly. So $8 million, she's not going to, throw a tantrum over like Jim. Jim is because he's broke. He spent all of his money. That's why he doesn't want to divorce Catherine. Aside from, spousal privilege. Now, Derek comes over, and of course Benny's doing his usual, oh, go away, man, what are you doing there? Like a little kid. And that shows you how Benny he didn't grow up in a household with a strong male figure, because a strong male figure will have slapped the piss, shaken the piss, done whatever needs to be done to show Benny, hey, as long as I'm not disrespecting your mother, don't you dare go and disrespect me like that. You're not 5 years old. You act like it, but you're not 5 years old. Heck, you're not 10 years old. So then, Hannah and Derek go into the separate room. Derek wants to take Hannah out. Hannah doesn't want Derek to spend money on her. Derek says he enjoys it. Hannah says, are you rich? He says, of course not, but it doesn't mean that I can't, treat you to something nice. So she said, why don't we go and eat here? And he doesn't want to do it because Benny's there. He just wants it to be the two of them. And Benny comes in when, Derek is making a joke about how, may need to, potty train the boy. Benny's like, oh, so what you going to do? What you going to do? I love how Derek acknowledged Benny is big, a big dude. I'm not scared, but I'm not going to assume that I can just win. A mess. So then has to send him off again, which is so annoying. And that was the end of that. Now, after they're going to stay in and cook, after Wyatt was done with his testimony, they just released him. I'm thinking, Wyatt, where are you going to go? That's the part I was so confused about. So the next thing we know is we see Wyatt being kidnapped right outside of the courthouse. I'm thinking, what? Okay, we're going to pretend like this makes sense. So he gets kidnapped, and it's Jim and his people. So Jim and his people, and Jim said, Wyatt, you idiot. You idiot. What you did really messed things up. So he's going to take Jim back to the house. So Jim takes Wyatt back to the house. Right before they come in, Veronica comes in, even though I know David's car. So David must have been somewhere. That's the part that confused me. How is it? See, this is a flaw that I noticed. Why is it that David's car, which we know and what it looks like, was already there before Veronica's, even though David wasn't in the room with Catherine before Veronica? And why did David come in through the door? It just, okay, we'll make this make sense. Fine. We'll make this make sense. Now, aside from that, we have Veronica. She's gloating because she's just like, oh, hey, Catherine, how are you? I'm good. How are you? How's each other's sons? Well, I know what was going on with yours. It's like, Veronica. And she said, look, I'm happy. I'm in a great space in my life because David and Veronica are getting back together. And Catherine had to look up, what? Really? And she also explained the situation. So Jim came and explained the situation. Veronica's going to go and call her people, her gaggle of lawyers, and see what they can do. But before they do that, it's really funny because when Veronica tells both of them that her and David are back together, Jim is confused because Jim knows the details of what's been going on. So he's trying to figure out, when did this happen? So when David comes in after Jim, mind you, again, that didn't make any sense. After Jim, and, you know, and said that, and kissed Veronica and all of that, and that they're together, they're going to coordinate, figure out what they're going to do. Jim was so confused, like, why is this happening? What's going on? I forgot to mention that Catherine brought up Broderick's name to Hannah and said it a certain way, so Hannah knows something's not right there, but okay, whatever. I think the last thing I want to mention is the fact that Wyatt, no one was watching him, so he was telling Jim that, you know what, I think I actually want to stay home, I guess because an arrest was about to happen, and Jim looked nervous, so then he went downstairs, and Wyatt was looking for alcohol, thinking, oh my god, this man is trash. He was looking for alcohol, but instead he found guns. And so he took a rifle, he loaded it, and that's the last thing that we see. So I don't know if he's going to, and it looks like next week he's going to call Jeffrey and, you know, tell them that he's going to knock out all their parents, is what they deserve. A lot's going to happen next week. Maybe Justin's going to be upset that Jeffrey's talking to Wyatt. Who knows? So that's it. Please like, comment, subscribe. Come back next week. Remember, I put up a new Romie Reports is about R. Kelly. I put up Love and Hip Hop New York. I don't know if I'm going to continue with Miami. Honestly, I don't know. Especially since people don't really watch my recap for that. I don't know. It's more work than results. Period. And that's it. Oh yeah, my new video up at Romie Whispers ASMR. Like I said, link below and link above. Thanks.